Our mission is to promote an open system of world trade, finance, and investment where business can flourish and contribute to economic growth and sustainability. We deal a lot with international policy making, regulatory, and standard setting institutions such as the United Nations, the International Labor Organization, and the OECD. Because jobs and technology are changing so rapidly these days, we've got to be prepared for a more lifelong learning and adaptation process.
One thing that we as USCIB bring to the table is that we have these relationships with the various international organizations. Through those relationships, we're able to tap into the global trends on trade and investment and other issues that we follow on behalf of our members. We've seen historically that even against the changing political environments over time, the one truth that has been consistent is that an open trade and investment environment is vital for economic growth and development, and that protectionism never yields those results.
Nutrition and the underlying components of nutrition, food, agriculture, healthcare, it's a huge part of the private sector. It's a $7.8 trillion industry worldwide. In some countries, it employs up to 40% of the working population. So it's a massive sector, and it's a massive sector that isn't having a very big impact on the Sustainable Development Goals, and that's unfortunate.
Climate change is much more than an environmental issue. It's something that touches every element of the economy, every activity of society, and every business sector. It's certainly motivating the business community to innovate, to invest. It's moving the transition towards cleaner energy much more quickly. So that's where we're going to focus a lot of our attention in the coming years is what can we do to set up the right environment that will mobilize American investment, not just here in the United States, but also overseas towards greener solutions.
USCIB played a key role in the formation and adoption of the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. And what they do is set out a global framework that sets out the government duty to protect human rights. Good governance, rule of law, effective enforcement is so key and yet absent in a number of jurisdictions around the world where companies are either operating or sourcing from. And it's in all of our interests to find ways to support governments through carrots and encouragement to carry out that key role and key function.
Government bureaucrats and international bureaucrats, they have a certain way of looking at things. So like if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Business looks at things a little bit differently, a little bit more entrepreneurial, and brings market-driven solutions to a lot of these problems that maybe wouldn't occur to some of these international organizations and development agencies.
We've seen a worrying trend in some international institutions who apparently believe that there is an inherent conflict of interest in dealing with business and therefore are insulating themselves from business and preventing business from being at the table.
And now what we're doing is we're straightening out our trade.
This is an administration that, while they've had very positive views about the role of the private sector, business and industry in the world, they don't have such an engaging view about the multilateral environment. If we could help them understand that we could make the multilateral agencies more effective by increasing business and industry's engagement, hopefully we could get a more positive view on their part of what multilateralism can actually accomplish. You're not going to solve these very complex problems without having the private sector actually at the table, bringing their solutions, their ideas, their innovation to the discussion. And USCIB is kind of a focal point. We have the credentials where we can actually officially represent American business and industry in these environments where some of these problems are addressed and solved.
I think it's fair to say that governments who have figured out how best to catalyze the input of business in their decision-making are ones who are more successful in dealing with the challenges that they face. I would love to see a world where business and government are working much more collaboratively together to address the challenges that we face in society. Business wants to be and needs to be part of the solution.